Hi guys, Gail Merrick here. So I am checking in. Today is January 20th and I started this journey to grow my faith. One project that I was hoping was going to help me do that was transitioning to a carnivore way of eating. And so I am here to report that I am down over like 6 or 7 pounds, I believe, now since the beginning of the year, January 1st. And what I want to talk about this week for carnivore is the thing that's really standing out to me right now is my vision. So if I were not carnivore and I ate a standard American diet like I wanted to, tons of sweets, and just kind of went till, I couldn't go anymore and enjoyed myself eating sweets, I would no doubt be a type 2 diabetic. One of the things that happens to me when I have a really high blood sugar level is that my vision gets blurry. And I've actually had an eye doctor tell me it had nothing to do with, my blood sugar. I know from experience that is a complete crock, because I know that my eyesight and what happens to my vision at night, like the haze and the halo around lights, is specifically what tells me that my blood sugar is getting way too high. And in the past, that indicator is almost what I use to tell myself, other than the scale and looking in the mirror, my huge bloated face. That is what I use to gauge, all right, it's time to stop going crazy with the sugar now and kind of try to do a little bit better for myself. So I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, that I am 20 days into carnivore and my vision still has not stabilized. And so what I mean by that is that I am still experiencing a lot of blur, like at night, and I don't really do a heck of a lot of night driving, but one of my kids works at a restaurant. I don't usually pick him up until around like 9 or 10 o'clock on a Saturday or a Friday night. And so that's kind of my gauge, is like every week, is my vision okay when I go to get him? And so even, this past weekend, it's still just not exactly what I would like it to be. So I'm kind of watching that, and it's really kind of the thing that I'm like focusing on right now, because it's a big deal for me. So other than that, this whole carnivore way of eating, the purpose of it is to get more energy so that I can feel like I have the energy to live out God's will for my life. And it's funny because I've thought so far that the energy that I need is physical energy, but I'm actually learning just over the past week or so that it's spiritual energy that I feel like I am in need of recently. And so what I mean by that is the whole reason for this channel, like I said, is that I want to get closer to God's will, or have the energy to do God's will, and more so even than that, to build my faith. So my number one goal with this channel is to build my faith. And so like every night at dinner, my husband and I, when all the 4 boys are there, we sit at the table, we talk about Bible verses, and blessings came up a little while ago. And I kind of shared that, we're not in a position right now to give financially the way that we have in the past, but that I still really feel called to give. And especially considering it's January, we just passed through Christmas season, and it's generally when my husband and I give the most. And that really didn't happen this year in the way that it has in the past. And opportunities totally changed. Things were just a lot different this year. And so it didn't happen the way it usually does. And it kind of set me back spiritually a little bit. And I just ended up reaching out to my pastor to see, well, if we can't give financially, what else can I do? And again, it goes back to blessings. And so I just got out of a meeting with him, and we talked about being able to bless people by giving encouragement or praying for them or things like that. But a really huge part of it really was, for me, Hebrews 11:20 and 21, I believe. It talks about Isaac and Jacob blessing. And when it talks about the blessings that they gave to their children, it says that they spoke those blessings by faith. And to me, the issue I'm having with blessing people is that I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel like I'm good enough to be doing that. And it really kind of was an eye-opener to see in Hebrews 11 that when people speak blessings, they do it by faith. And so the big conversation that I just had with my pastor really was about growing my faith and being able to, through my own faith, strengthen the faith of others, the people really that my husband and I consider our ministry, our customer base, and our business. So it's kind of funny that I went this whole week from worrying about my eyesight and sugar and blur, and that still existing, and then making the huge leap to realizing that in order to bless other people, I need to keep my faith very strong and I need to grow my faith. And so it kind of cracks me up that I feel like the whole sugar and eye blur thing is really a response to potentially adding stevia to my coffee. So full disclosure, I did not want to do that. Here I am doing it, and I'm wondering if that little bit of sugar or stevia, if you want to call it sugar, whatever, is the culprit. It's funny because in the past I've kind of thought, well, how much sugar can I have and still lose weight if I'm carnivore or if I'm keto? How do I, eat as much as I possibly can and still lose weight? This time around, the weight isn't really a big issue, but obviously my vision is. I'm getting older, so maybe that has more to do with it. But it's funny that there seems to be a parallel between eating carnivore and staying with that way of eating and also becoming spiritually mature. Both require doing difficult things when they're not exactly easy and just following a trust the process kind of a motivator, I guess you could say. And so I know that in order for my vision to change, I don't really know, it's kind of an experiment still at this point, but I'm assuming if I cut out the stevia, will I then get the clear vision that I know I can have? And if I stick with learning God's word and learning more about who I am as a child of God and God's promises, will that grow my faith? And so that's kind of my thought for this week, is the parallels between physical discipline and spiritual discipline. I know the Bible is much more adamant about us developing our spiritual discipline, but at the same time, I feel like managing and being successful with physical discipline is a very similar road to take, and it's kind of something that we can learn from. And so I feel like even though my body is going to pass away at some point and I will be given a new body, I still feel like it's good to practice physical discipline of some sort, whether it's exercise or this way of eating specifically, because it's practice for doing things that aren't easy. And becoming a mature Christian is not easy. And so I feel like just taking my time and trusting the process with eating carnivore is very much the same as getting in my Bible every morning and reading several chapters and meditating on God's word and memorizing it. It's all the same thing. It's teaching me something. It's growing as a person, whether it's physically or spiritually, and it's moving me from point A to point B. And so, like I said, I'm down a few pounds with carnivore. I am hoping for my vision to get a little bit better. There has been slight improvement, but just not exactly what I'm used to seeing over this span of time. But also just growing my faith and realizing that it's very much like eating carnivore. It requires discipline and requires just repetition, really. Doing the same thing that I know is right over and over again. Reading God's word, learning what he says about me as his child, and going from there. So anyway, that's my update for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will be back next week. Thanks so much. We'll see ya. Bye.